the era of Kathleen Kennedy is now over. The king is dead. Long live the king, because now we have not one, but two new heads of Lucasfilm. And they were actually, as we alluded to earlier, they were handpicked by Kathleen Kennedy, who, I mean, Dave Filoni was her favorite kid. I mean, let's just be honest. That became obvious very early. Dave Filoni was Kathleen Kennedy's favorite child. I know you're not supposed to have favorites, but Filoni was hers. So this came to us from a report. And when Kennedy's talking, then it says, Kennedy is stepping down from her executive role at Lucasfilm in early 2026. That's now happened. Naming Dave Filoni and Lynwen Brennan as the successors to lead Lucasfilm. She said this: 2 years ago, I went to Bob Iger, and Alan Bergman, the head of films at Disney, to figure out what the transition plan would be. She said, I made the recommendation that it be Dave Filoni and Lynwen Brennan. She plans to return to producing and confirmed involvement in future Star Wars projects alongside Frank Marshall as a producer, which is a good place for her to be. Anyway, so I think it's fascinating that we find out just as George Lucas handpicked Kathleen Kennedy handpicked Lynwen Brennan and Dave Filoni to be the new heads of Lucasfilm. So I think that's telling. And even though it hasn't been a great era, it's good that there's going to be some consistency. It's good that there's going to be a good succession plan here, and it should be able to transition fairly smoothly. So that brings us to, where are my hopes and fears for this era? From all accounts, we obviously don't know a lot about Lynwen Brennan. Just from everything we hear, she is an excellent executive. Everything, the people I've talked to, not like there's been dozens of them. I've talked to about 3 or 4 people who are familiar with her. One even knows her and are familiar with the inner workings of Lucasfilm and stuff like that. And the reputation she's garnered has been one of excellence, that she is an excellent movie executive, an excellent company executive. So that's a good thing to do, because one of the big problems that I have always had with the idea of Dave Filoni taking over the studio is that Dave Filoni doesn't know jack shit about running a studio. Well, it seems like Kathleen Kennedy a number of years ago had already started to be planning her exit, because I think she recognized that too, and then elevated Dave Filoni to the role of chief creative officer, putting him in a position to have a couple of years of actually building some experience in those C-level suite offices and being more around, what do executives need to do to run a studio? What is it like on this level to run a studio? Which makes me suspect that she's actually been grooming Dave Filoni to take this over at some point by giving him those years of experience as a chief executive. And, then also adding Lynwen to be the co-adult in the room with him to help him out in that area. So I think that's good. And, so I have my main worry about Dave Filoni having no experience in this has been mitigated a little bit by the fact that Kathleen Kennedy has given him several years of experience, and the fact that we've got Brennan coming in to be the more seasoned, experienced executive, make the big boy decisions for the company overall. So that makes me feel a little bit better about it. But Rob, I'm going to say that my 2 main apprehensions still stand. And those apprehensions are that, number 1, he has very extreme limited experience in making anything live action. And when he has made something live action, like Ahsoka, number 1, it wasn't very good. And number 2, it felt more like he was still making a cartoon show than, and don't get me, I love Star Wars Rebels, don't get me wrong, but live action needs to feel different than animation. And Ahsoka wasn't very good. And it felt like he only knows how to make cartoons. And that's a problem. Can he move beyond that? Absolutely he can. He's exhibited that he has a very teachable spirit. He wants to learn, he wants to grow, and that's the perfect mindset. And that's why I've always been a big fan of his. My second big concern, besides the fact that he's got 0 experience making live action stuff, and the stuff he has made has not been all that good, has been his apparent complete obsession with old Star Wars. Like he seems obsessed. Well, number one, he's obsessed with Ahsoka. Everything's got to be Ahsoka. Ahsoka, everything's got to be Ahsoka. And he's also obsessed with that whole prequel era. And we need Star Wars to move beyond that. We need Star Wars. We've had 50 years almost. We're approaching 50 years of this one confined era of Star Wars. It's time to start moving forward. Can Dave Filoni be the guy to do that? He can. He can. And I'm going to be cheering for him. But I do worry that they just named a new co-president who's kind of got his boots stuck in the mud of the era we've always been in, and he can't move beyond it. So that's my fear. But can he make something great? He absolutely can. Can he move forward and move Star Wars forward from where it's been stuck for so long? He absolutely can. Will he is my worry and my fear. So, Rob, I'm going to be sitting in the stands. I'm going to be sitting on the sidelines. I don't have one here. Pretend this is it. I'm going to have my Dave Filoni flag, and I'm going to be sitting in the stands, waving my Filoni flag, Filoni and Brennan. I'm going to be waving that flag, saying, "Go team, go." I'm going to hope for the best. I'm going to cheer them on. I just have some worries right now, and I really hope those get alleviated. But at least, Rob, I can say that one big fear I've had 4 or 5 years ago about Filoni having no experience, Kathleen Kennedy seems to have done some things to alleviate that a little bit, and that's a good thing. So,
guys, we want to take a second to thank a sponsor of today's video, BetterHelp. You know, the new year doesn't require a new you, maybe just a less burdened you. Most of us carry around things like pressure, self-doubt, or that feeling that we always have to be perfect, and learning to let some of that go can make a huge difference in our lives. Therapy can help you better understand what's weighing you down by giving you an unbiased perspective on your relationships, motivations, and emotions. That's where BetterHelp comes in. See, BetterHelp connects you with quality therapists who are fully licensed in the US and follow a strict professional code of conduct. They also do the matching work for you. You fill out a short questionnaire, and with over 12 years of experience and industry-leading match rates, they usually get it right the first time. And if you ever want to switch therapists, you can do that easily from their tailored recommendations. BetterHelp is also one of the world's largest online therapy platforms, plus an average 4.9 out of 5 rating from over 1.7 million live session reviews. BetterHelp makes it easy to match online with a qualified therapist. Sign up and get 10% off at betterhelp.com/Campea. That's BetterHelp.com/Campea.
how are you feeling today? Number one, about the fact that we're finding out that Kathleen Kennedy herself is the one who picked Brennan and Filoni to take over for her. And then number two, how are you feeling today about those two now being the stewards of Lucasfilm?
Well, I think that I want to say Bronwyn. What's her first name? It's a
Lynwen.
It's a cool name. I like that. I like that choice. I mean, somebody who understands business and somebody who understands where the bodies are buried. And Lucasfilm is not a company that does things for low budgets. So knowing how to manage that kind of money and knowing how to wield those kinds of financial tools is a good thing. Dave Filoni, you know, to me, I want him to, succeed like you. I'll be waving the flag from the sidelines, hoping he succeeds. I do find, look, anybody who's worked primarily in animation has different creative concerns than live action does. And I think that, you know, Filoni, I think, has a pretty fundamentalist adherence to George Lucas's quote unquote rules and how everything is supposed to work. And that's fine on one hand, but when you want to break out the universe and make it more broad-minded, there's a lot going on in that Star Wars universe. And like you said, it's been a little constrained in terms of how we've seen it. And I would like to see more of it. Now, Filoni he's created a lot of good characters, whether it's Clone Wars, Rebels, Ahsoka too. I mean, I think Ahsoka is a great character that's been a little, I think she's never lived up to the potential that Dave Filoni has in her mind. I mean, she was a great character on the animated shows, didn't translate so well to live action, although I think they did pick the perfect actress to play her.
Oh, 100%.
But yeah, and the whole Ahsoka show is, I kind of I shook my head at a lot of what went on in that show, especially and using Grand Admiral Thrawn and not well, and all that. And I really still object to the fact how Timothy Zahn was treated. And in a way, I hope, they started using Thrawn before they'd even checked with Zahn. And although it was work for hire and technically they owned all that stuff, those characters belonged to him as a novelist. He created them out of whole cloth. And yes, it was work for hire, but in the way they brought him up to Lucasfilm and told him they were already using Thrawn instead of asking him, that's always kind of been like, that's not good.
You know how I feel about that, though, Rob. Like, if I buy this cup from you and I pay you for it and it's mine now, I don't need to check in with you to see if it's okay with you that I put Dr. Pepper in it or not. It's mine. I don't need to check in with you to see if it's okay.
I get that, but Disney didn't own that character when Timothy Zahn agreed to write it, and I think that if you're going to translate, and by the way, if you're going to translate, I understand the ownership, but Writers Guild rules, if you created something for movies or television, you have somewhat of control over what happens to your characters that you create. And not when it's not like those characters, of all the characters that were created for the novels, those particular characters in the Heir to the Empire series was a unique kind of a big one-off event. And I think that he deserved a little bit better treatment. That's all.
I listen, I have met and talked to Timothy Zahn. I love the Heir to the Empire trilogy, but again, if I buy your car from you, it's mine. I don't need your permission to drive it to Vegas. It's
yeah, but
mine
you
now.
you
But
when
you know
you
what I would have done? What I would have done, Rob, is I would have brought him into the writer's room. I would have asked him to come into the writer's room to at least give his perspective. But not doing that, I think it's pearl clutching to say I don't think there's any offense intended or given by not bringing him in to do that. Like those novels were written over 3 decades ago. So I don't know how I feel about that. But at any rate, getting back to Filoni and Lynwen Brennan, it's going to, what it reminds me of a lot, Rob, and I think you might have brought this up before. It reminds me a lot of the current DC situation, where you have in the one guy, James Gunn, who's the hardcore comic book guy, and you bring in Peter Safran, the more seasoned and experienced executive level guy. And that is a balance that seems to be working for DC. And I think you were the one that first pointed that out to me, that this has that kind of, can you see that working out here in this situation?
100%. It's like Brian Grazer and Ron Howard. They've had an incredible run at Imagine Pictures, and Brian Grazer's the money guy, the producer guy, and Ron Howard's the creative. And that is a really great synergistic relationship to have, because if you can trust somebody to come in and say, look, we want to do this, here's how much it's going to cost, and the money person says, okay, can we make it cost 20% less? How can we do that? And if you understand you're not adversarial, that you're working together, that can be a very rare, very synergistic relationship that can benefit everyone in the long run. So I absolutely think that's the case here.
All right, guys, question is for you. We have entered only the third era for Star Wars. We had the George Lucas era. We had his handpicked successor, Kathleen Kennedy's era. And now we have her handpicked successors in Lynwen Brennan and Dave Filoni's era. Will these two be able to work together the way that, say, James Gunn and Peter Safran do? Will it become contentious? Are they both still going to be there in a year? We'll find out. Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comments section below and let us know your thoughts.
Hey guys, thanks so much for watching this video. Make sure you like the video, leave a comment, and subscribe to our channel. And don't forget, we have a daily podcast called the John Campea Show podcast, available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcasting app of choice. Go and subscribe to it today so it'll be there when you need it.